get started, I will be using 1.5 pounds of chicken legs. I'm also going to season it with a chicken rub that I have. I just basically blended seasoning, salt, lemon pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder together and put it in an old onion powder container that I had. You can season your chicken legs with salt, pepper, or anything that you like. So now I'm just going to generously season these on both sides. Then in a preheated pan, I'm going to just brown them on the exterior before I cook them through. Now, this is the way I like to make my arroz con pollo, especially when I'm using drumsticks. I want to make sure that they are cooked all the way through because you don't want to end up with raw chicken. So I'm pretty much going to brown them on all sides. Now, before I continue my instruction, I also want to remind you, do not walk away from a hot pan while cooking chicken. I walked away after covering it, and guess what happened? Yeah, you guessed it. It burned. So basically, I'm just going to quickly remove my chicken to save the chicken, even though it is singed. And I'm going to wash and scrub all those black bits out of the pan. I'm going to rewash this pan and basically start over. Heat the pan through and just start browning my chicken. And then after it's browned on the outside, I am going to add a 1/3 cup of water, quickly cover it with a lid, and lower the heat. I'm going to allow this to cook on a medium-low heat for about 15 to 20 minutes or until my chicken legs are cooked through. Now I'm going to go over my other ingredients while the chicken continues to cook. So I am going to be using 2 cups of chicken broth. You can use homemade stock, your own chicken broth. I basically dissolve 2 teaspoons of Knorr bouillon powder into 2 cups of water. I'm also using 2/3 cup of crushed tomato. If you want to drier rice, use less tomato. I'm also using 1 cup of long grain rice, 1 small onion chopped in big chunks. And I do that so the kids don't have to eat the onion because they don't like it. I'm also going to be using a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cumin. You can change the ratios of those dry ingredients. That's just what I like. I'm also going to be using 4 minced cloves of fresh garlic. Okay, so at this point, my chicken legs are cooked through, and this is right under 20 minutes. So let's just say 20 minutes on a low to medium-low heat. Now, if you'll notice, there's a lot of delicious juice at the bottom of this pan. I am going to collect that and add that later once I get the rice toasted. Again, if you want a drier rice, I like a soupy, tomatoey rice when I make my chicken and rice. If you want a drier rice, you want to use less tomato, and you probably want to use less broth because you're probably going to end up with some of this delicious fond and chicken juices. So keep that in mind. I'm making a soupier version. So here I go. I'm going to pour this out of the pan, and then I am going to let the pan heat through again. And there we go again. This is probably about almost a 1/3 to a 1/2 cup of chicken juices. So again, I want a soupier rice. If you want it drier, lessen the liquid. So I'm adding my rice, and of course I started mixing this, and I realized I needed to add just a little tad bit of oil to get the rice toasting a little quicker in this pan because I don't want to burn the fond. So just a teaspoon of oil. I'm going to mix the rice through, and I'm going to toast this. And by the way, I have the heat on a medium to low heat. You don't want to burn anything. And while I'm toasting my rice, I am going to scrape up all the fond and bits at the bottom of the pan. So my rice is toasted. Now I'm going to add my dry seasoning quickly. You don't want to burn it, but at the same time it is dry. So you want to sort of warm it through to get things permeating and, to make things more flavorful with the rice. So now that everything is mixed through, toasted, warmed through, what have you, I'm adding my broth. Again, let me stress to you before I read a million comments about how soupy and mushy rice is. This is the way I grew up having it. This is the way I love it. So if you want drier rice, common sense would tell you add less liquid. So I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients and just sort of, kind of zhuzh it. You don't really want to mix the rice too much like I'm doing. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. And I also want to mention I am using crushed tomato because for some reason it's what I have in my kitchen. And I always find that I don't have tomato sauce, which is actually what my grandparents always used. So if you have a small can of tomato sauce, that definitely works. And again, I'm using 2/3 cups of crushed tomato. Use less to have a drier rice, because this rice is going to be soupier, softer. Some people would say it's mushy. I actually love that texture when I'm making my chicken and rice. So now I'm going to add that extra liquid. Again, this extra liquid is only going to add to the soupiness of the rice. So adjust things accordingly to your taste, whether you want a fluffier or drier rice. Again, less liquid, less crushed tomato. Now I'm just going to add my drumsticks. Remember, these are cooked through. I like to make sure it's already cooked through. Some people would say, oh, you're overcooking the chicken. No, I'm not. Yeah, it's overcooked, but it's going to come out tender. It'll be fine. I do this all the time. And so again, I'm just going to place these in the pan. Then I'm going to add my big chunks of onion. And the reason why I do this, because when I serve my children, they do not like onion, so it makes it easier on the adults to just give them what they want. And to be honest, I love the onion. So between my husband and I, we pretty much just devour the onions with this dish. And I forgot to add this earlier, but I am going to add some freshly cracked black pepper. I think it's a must. I like it. You don't have to do it, but it's optional, but I like it. So I'm going to bring this up to simmer, cover it with a lid, and then I'm going to lower to a low heat. I'm going to show you. I don't have a measurement for the temperature, but there you go. I have it like on the second or third dial on my cooking knob, and I'm going to cook for around 22 to 25 minutes. Cook time may vary according to where you have your heat. And after around 25 minutes, my arroz con pollo, my chicken and rice, is done. And I don't care if I singed it earlier. Guess what, guys? I'm hungry. It smells wonderful. So I'm going to serve a bowl and give this a try. I'd also like to mention that the ingredients and measurements for this recipe are in the description below this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And gosh, this bite is the perfect bite. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.